everyone, this is movie 2 for Word Chapter 4, Pause and Practice 4. We left off with step 6 where we put the for sale sign in and put the caption, centered it, then grouped it, positioned it here. We're going to pick up on page W4-243, step number 7. So the first thing that we're going to do is, for these two quotes, we're going to change the paragraph spacing. So we need to be in the first quote somewhere. If we go to layout, the after, we want to make it 12 points. Do you see it's moving it down? Then we're going to go into the second quote, and we're going to change the after paragraph. So watch what happens here between the quote and the name of the person that's being quoted. You see it, they're separating because we're adding more white space after this paragraph. And that's setting up so that we can put some graphic element around the text to make it stand out. We're going to do that by inserting a shape. So we're going to start by going to insert. And then we did pictures, we talked about online pictures. So here we want to do shapes. And so in shapes you have a lot of course, different shapes. And you can kind of create your own if you want. And you can put these behind text, you can put them, you know, overlapped images or shapes to, you know, you can do all kinds of things here, and you layer them. So when we first put this shape on, it's going to sit on top of the text, and what we're going to do then is say, hey, put that in the background, send it to the back, so that the text then, if you're looking at pieces of paper, when it originally is on there, the shape is sitting on the piece of paper that has the text, but we're going to shuffle that paper and move the text to the top and the shape to the bottom. So don't worry when you first put it in there that it's going to be on top of it. So we want to do a rectangular call out. So if you look at call outs down here, very first one on my list, probably on yours, right? So it kind of looks like that little cartoon, you know, like that's what a call out does. So when we click on it, our mouse changes to this plus sign, the crosshairs. And so what you want to do is drag it across the quote, right? Don't worry so much about that you're you're going to size it and we're going to position it, all of that. Okay, so I let go and then boom, right? It covers up the text because now that piece of paper that is that shape is sitting on top of the text. So since it's selected, what we want to do is use this arrange group here to modify it. So we're going to send it backward, and we want it to go behind the text. So I clicked on the bottom part, send behind text, and there it is. Now it's behind the text. So the blue doesn't quite work, right? Because here we got greens, green. So let's take the shape gallery here and open that up and decide what we want. Well, we want to kind of keep with that green theme, right? So let's find the olive green accent 3 lighter 80. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, that was my bad. I need to read the directions for what they want. They want us to change the style. They want us to do the shape outline. I'm sorry, the shape fill. So let's click on shape fill. Sorry, in the styles area, but we're going to not work on the styles. We're going to do the fill. So now what we want to do is find olive 3 lighter 80. So this first one. Okay. Then we want to do the outline, and we want to pick olive green accent 3, so the dark one up here. So we put the top green is the outline, and then the fill is the lighter green, the 80% lighter. Okay. All right, that looks pretty nice. So let's do shape effects. So that's here. We're going to do that. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to be a shadow. So there's all different kinds of looks that you can do for your shape. We're going to pick the shadow and offset diagonal bottom right, right? So let's try and find that offset diagonal bottom right. Luckily, they picked that first one in the outer group. And when you see it, do you see that the shadow that's appearing just adds a little depth to it? It's kind of cool. We're going to change the shape height to 0.9. I wasn't too far off. And the width to 3. Okay. Now we're going to drag this so that it's position it. I'm just going to drop it down a little bit so you can just kind of eyeball it, like where does it, and I'm using my up and down, left and right arrow keys. It's just a lot more precise than using your mouse. So that looks good. I'm going to do a save. And now I need to do that same thing down here. Well, I don't want to go through all of that, right? I'm sure you don't either. So let's copy and paste that shape. So I have that green shape selected. I'm going to do a Control C, a Control V, and it's going to drop another shape on there. So now I can move that down, right? So everything's set up except the size, right? Because it needs to be a little bit deeper because there's bigger quote. So the height of this one, so let's go over here to Drawing Tools Format, is going to be, instead of 0.9 like the top one, it's going to be 1.4. So from there, I want these absolutely lined up, like, so I could have this like that, right? So one of the ways to quickly do that is to align them both. So I have the one box selected. I'm going to use my Shift key, my Control, and Shift. So let me go through this. Click on the first shape, press and hold your Shift, click on the edge, right? So now we have both shapes selected. Go to the Drawing Tools Format, and then what we want to do is we want to align it. So that's in the Arrange group, right? Find the Align, and Align Center. Yeah, see, I don't like how close that is. I probably would use my little mouse, or my little left arrow, just to move it over 1 or 2. Okay. So I guess the point that I want you to recognize here is you can do this movement and all of that on 2 shapes at once, or more shapes. You just use that Shift key and click on the edge of the shape, and then you can start working on them together instead of having to do them separately. All right, so I'm going to save it again, and then I'm going to add the word art for Emma's name. So that's really kind of the last thing we're going to do in this chapter. So we're going to take Emma Cavelli, and so we're going to select it, and then we're going to insert, and this time we're going to do word art. So it's over here under the text group. We're going to do word art, and we want to find gradient fill gray. Let's see if we can, there it is, gradient fill gray. It's going to convert Emma's name to gradient fill gray. We want to change the shape, the height. So 0.8 is the height, and the width is 3.6. So it's not as tall, but it's wider. So now Emma's name is on one line. We're going to use the text effect button. Okay, so just make sure you're not on shape effects. Now we're working with text, right? This is what we used for this stuff. So text effect, we want to pick reflection, and then tight reflection touching. So let's see, that first one again. So that's cool. Then the last thing, look, it messed everything up. So we need to position this so it's like up here and everything will rewrap. So let's pick position. We're going to do that more layout. This is just like what we did, but we're going to, when we did the other absolute, for the bottom right picture, which was the logo. So the horizontal area, we want to do absolute position 0.2 to the right of the page. So we're positioning it on the page, and then the vertical is below, not a paragraph, but the page. So when we do OK, do you see it pops it up outside of the margin area, and then everything should wrap in together. And really, we're done. So I'm going to save that, and let's just do a print preview. Okay, cool. That looks good. We could fold it as a trifold if we wanted, or we could just hand this out one-sided. Nice. All right, save it, submit it, and you are done with Word Chapter 4. You're done with all of the Word chapters, so the next thing that's up would be your Word test. All right, guys, thank you.